and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Cassie, also known as KnittaCass, and this is my YouTube channel where I talk about the things that I am making, the patterns that I am drooling over, some of my family life on a small farm in Vermont, a little bit about my pattern designing, some books I'm reading, and a spice of mental health. So go ahead and grab your favorite beverage and let's get crafting. I of course have my Pepsi, which is not surprising if you've been here a while. And on that note, if you've been here a while, thank you for coming back. I enjoy getting to know you and having you support me. If you're a new viewer, welcome. I hope you enjoy the space here. And if you don't mind, at the end of the video, leaving a comment or a thumbs up or subscribing if you haven't, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you. And in typical Cassie fashion, I have absolutely no finished objects. I do, however, have a crap ton of whips. It's insane. I was going through my project bags, trying to pull out some of the ones for summer and looking for my old summer sock camp stuff. And I found at least 2 sock whips. I can't remember if there's one more, but when I go through whips, I'll let you know. But at least 2 socks that were hose, which is a half finished object. So they each had 1 sock done and the start of a 2nd sock. So I'll talk a little bit more about that in just a moment. But it was quite a surprise to realize that I had all these hose. It's also exciting because it's summer sock camp, which is run by Kay of the Crazy Sock Lady. And the goal is to knit as many socks as you want to. There is really no pressure. There is an opportunity to get prizes by using the hashtag Summer Sock Camp 2023. This is her 3rd year doing it, I believe. I believe it's her 3rd year. There was a couple years where there was a bunch of categories and different leaders of like the cabins depending on your method, such as double point needles or 9-inch circulars. And there was one year where she had some VIP seating where you had like a virtual campfire. This year, she is just amazingly taking care of herself. And it seems like overall, she's just really focusing on what makes her happy and not stressing about making others happy. Not in a way of ignoring others, but just realizing like what makes her happy is the priority. And so this year, it's all about making socks at your own pace, as many as you want. Just use the hashtag or comment in the chatter thread on Ravelry and you can be entered to win prizes. The best part is this is the 1st year where she has allowed whips. So I will be able to have more socks completed because I can use my whips that I just found. So that was pretty cool. As you can see here, I have a bin that I was getting ready for summer sock camp. It's got a couple of my summer bags I'll go over in a minute. It's got some extra sock needles. It's got my Operation Sock Drawer book. This is a socket to me. It's not a cool sock ruler, but it does give you a general idea of how big socks for men and infants and children and women should be, and has a little ruler on the side. I rarely use it because I typically knit for me. And then this is from a few years ago. This is my summer sock camp. This is from 2021. This was her logo. This bag was one of the things you could buy. I've added a bunch of pins to it. So there's F off I'm knitting, Ravenclaw, which is who I am. I'd knit that. Luna Lovegood. This is a sheep from Dukes of Hazzard, which I'm not a big fan of, but we went to West Virginia to visit my mom and we went to the Dukes of Hazzard like museum and that was pretty cool. A monkey from Friends, a frame from Friends, and also from Friends. So there's this bag. I'm hoping to put all my sock whips in here. If I use the sock whips in like smaller sock bags, I should be able to fit a couple in here and kind of bring them with me. I imagine myself, and hopefully this will become reality, but I imagine myself sitting by a fire or my mother-in-law's pool and just knitting socks. And I can just bring this bag right along and I can alternate through my patterns I know that sometimes I will pick a pattern or I will pick a project or something and bring it with me and wish I had brought another project. So I have been bringing multiple projects on the go, and this would be a great bag to use. So in this bag, I won it as part of a prize, I think from Nitty Natty. And it's this cute little llama bag, little drawstring. It is by Erin Lane. It's kind of hard to see that. I found a pair of colorwork socks that I had been a TIS knitter for. So these are colorwork socks, not my strong suit. This is to resemble a caterpillar. It was designed by, shoot, I will put it down below. I feel really bad. But she is a designer who designs patterns based on nature. She has this really gorgeous like butterfly, moth, different caterpillars, beetles, you name it. So this was a test pattern. You only had to knit one sock, which apparently is all I did. So I have one sock, I have a hoe, and I have the yellow and green yarn, which are from Knit Picks. I don't remember the colorways. And the black yarn is currently in with Sad Jack because I was working on it. I'll tell you more in a minute. It's very exciting. So there's the hoe caterpillar socks. I'm going to write the actual name down below with the designer. And as always, I will have things linked below. If you watch my videos when they first come out and there's no links, I'll let you know why. I film on my phone and I edit on my iPad, but I haven't figured out on my iPad how to add my show notes into it as I'm uploading it. So typically what I have to do is upload the video and then go back and edit on the YouTube after it's been published and add the show notes. So if you watch it when it first comes out and you don't see the show notes, I promise I'm not being a jerk. I just haven't gotten to actually hitting the button yet. In fact, I tend to upload this usually the day I go back to work, and probably that evening I say, oh crap, I should probably add my show notes. So they will be down there. If they're not down there right away when you watch this, come on back in a day or so and they will be down below. The other hoe is in this bag by So Crazy Crafter. It's a super cute drawstring bag. It's kind of like a canvas material. This is an Arne and Carlos sock. I may have shown it on my last podcast, but I don't think so. I'm not sure. So it's a hoe. It's got one sock. It's got a really fun pattern. I love the colors. And there is a bit of a really long, funny story, but I will make it as quick as possible. So I was really excited one day and I cast it on for the second sock, and the pattern wasn't adding up. It wasn't going in the order as this sock, and it's supposed to. So I was like, what is happening? So instead of trying to figure out the problem, I thought I'll just Frankenstein the yarn. So I would cut the yarn and then go and find what the next color should be, cut the yarn again, join it together, knit that color, and then be surprised that the next pattern wouldn't be what it was supposed to be, and do the whole thing again. And as it was happening, I was realizing that I was knitting the second sock pattern-wise backward. So it dawns on me that this is probably, and a lot of you are probably gonna laugh, when you have the skein of yarn, so like the outer pole is the beginning of one sock, and the center pole is the beginning of the other sock. But what I was doing is I finished the first sock, I went until it looked like it started, cut it, cast on the next sock. So I was basically, like I said, knitting it from the bottom up. So I frogged it back and played with my yarn until I could figure out where to started again. And I have a bunch of yarns like this just kind of hanging out all over the place because I had to undo a lot to try to figure it out. The problem is I have this much going, which is a pretty good start. I'd like to start the heel pretty soon. doing pretty well. But I realized that the next color pattern is supposed to be this piece, and I can't find that yarn anywhere. And I was in a hotel room with my boys because they had a basketball tournament, and I had this memory, like I was trying to think, where did I touch things? Where did I move things? When did I last see it? And I had a panic moment because I'm pretty sure I took a fluff ball of yarn and threw it in the trash when we were cleaning the hotel room. So freaking out a little bit. And then I find all this junk from earlier. So I don't know if I'll be able to make it match. I'm gonna try, but worst case scenario, I might follow my husband's suggestion. He said, so these are heavy socks, right? I said, yeah. He said, so you're not gonna wear them in the summer, right? I said, no, I'm gonna wear them in the winter. He's like, under boots? And I said, no, probably at home barefoot. And he was like, but mostly you'll be wearing them when you're wearing shoes. And I was like, probably. I was like, but when I'm in the house, I'm gonna be wearing them. And he said, and you live with people who love you. I said, yeah. And he's like, so who cares what the rest of the sock looks like? So I might have to take that in consideration. But then my Cassie brain is gonna be like, what looks good with it? So I anticipate at my next podcast to either have a horrendous looking sock, or I'll probably ask you guys, here's my couple colors, what should I do? So stay tuned. This is a little bit better than a half object of the Arne and Carlos Regia. I do not have the ball band, so I don't know the colorway number. I also have cast it on. I don't know if it's going to be a vanilla sock or if it's going to be like a scrappy sock. I don't have enough yarn to make a pair of socks. This was the colorway that I was using for my pattern design, and I realized that I didn't have enough yarn to make a pair, and I had changed the pattern with my friend Alana. So thank you, Alana. I'll talk about that a little bit more in the business piece. But we did change the pattern after I knit the first sock, which means that I now didn't have enough to make a set of socks on the new pattern. So vanilla or scrappy socks, either way the pattern will be vanilla. Just barely started the cuff. And I do not have the ball band for the colorway, but I'm pretty sure it's Fiber Stash Dye Works. Then I have my pattern, of course. This is the Tanya socks, or Tanya socks. I'm not sure how it's pronounced. It's based on a book character from The Priory of the Orange Tree. There's a girl named Tanya. She's training to be a dragon rider, and she ends up being a really important character. So these socks are sort of reminding me of dragons, although my cohort who helped me rewrite the pattern thinks it looks like mermaid scales. So it's got this really nice 2-row repeat that gives this really nice textured look. I made these the ankle socks because I like them a little bit short. And the cool part about these, thank you to Alana, is that on the heel flap, the pattern continues, which is pretty exciting. So rather than starting the heel flap and doing plain stockinette, I actually have my pattern there. And we are doing a square heel, which I've never done before, and it was pretty easy to follow. I will admit the first time I did it, my brain could not wrap around the fact that I was doing a different heel, but it is super friendly. So that pattern will be coming out June 30th. It is the Tanya socks. And I have just finished the cuff of the second one. In fact, I think my test knitters are ahead of me. Another whip I have is called the Biscotti washcloth or Biscotti dishcloth. I'm going to try to show you without taking it off. It's got these nice mock cables in, I think there's 7 of them total. I am making it out of a sugar and cream, just kind of cotton washcloth material. It's coming out pretty cute. I do think the colors kind of distract from the pattern a little bit more than I like, but I don't really get fancy about my washcloths, and I don't think I plan on giving it to anybody, so it'll be fine. This will be washcloth number 6 of 12. So yay me. Okay. The other whip I have going is my Autumn Court sweater by Dragon Horde Designs. I can't quite put it on. Sort of put it on. Just want to show the patterning. So this pinkish yarn is a little bit thicker, so it makes the color work a little bit harder, but this is the general idea. It's quite pretty. Definitely looks better from far away when you can't see all the divots. So I have finished the colorwork piece. Oh look, there's so much more. I finished the colorwork piece and I am now on plain stockinette. It'll be plain stockinette until I do the ribbing for my waist. And then the sleeves will be plain stockinette in this main colorway. This is Cardinal by O Sport, or Northern Cardinal. And this peach is, shoot, I don't remember the colorway, by O Sport as well. This orange is called Slutty Pumpkin, and that is by Dragon Horde Yarn. This blue, I finally remembered what it was. It's Cereal Mermaid by Dragon Horde Yarn, and it's the same blue I used to make my wool and honey sweater. So the sleeves, the sleeves will be plain stockinette, and then about here you'll start to do some color work. Same color, same idea, but it is a different pattern, and I'm quite excited. I'm a little bit torn right now whether to keep plugging through so this is ready for the beginning of fall, or putting it aside and really focusing on trying to make a summer top. Let me know down below what you would do. That's all I have for whips. I did pull this butterfly bag out. Who is it by? Oh no. I can't find out who it's by. I've had it for a long time. Super pretty, really love it. It's got a nice canvas bottom. And I put this yarn in here. This is one of my yarnable colorways. It's a little bit messy, I apologize. I think it was the Sweet and Sour colorway. And I am hoping to knit Socks for Dumbledore by the Crazy Sock Lady. And I've got it in here with some magic loop needles. I do have one more whip, which is also a hoe. So I don't think I had finished the toe on this the last time I chatted with you. This is also a Arne and Carlos Pairfect Regia. So you just knit, 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 and it creates this really nice pattern. So I've got one of them done, and I have not started the next one. And I have a 9-inch cable with me, or 9-inch circular, and I've got it in another butterfly bag. This bag was not made for knitting, but I don't remember what its original purpose was. But it's now made for knitting. So that's a lot of socks. I also pulled out this bag, Sock Week 2021. It's got a nice shark on it. This was by Northern Swan Creations. It's in cursive and it's kind of blends in, but Northern Swan Creations. This is from the Sock Week by Nitty Natty. Every year she does a Sock Week, and it's a play on Shark Week, which is why there is a shark. And the goal is to knit one sock start to finish in a week. And some people get a little crazy and try to do a pair and succeed. So this year I'm not sure if I want to do that. It depends on how busy I am at work, but I might just do that. So I pulled this out for some summer socks. I'll keep using this bag for summer socks. This one is by Mid Mitten Designs. I think that's it for whips. Acquisitions. You kind of saw these, but I didn't really point them out. These are little goat needle holders. And so they're this kind of squishy-ish, firm but kind of squishy. And then it has a little hole for your needles. So those are pretty cute. I'm using them on my autumn court sweater. This is a skein of Peacock Blue by Fiber Stash Styleworks. It's a really pretty blue. It's lighter on my end than it's showing up. It's got some nice tweediness in this. I wanted to do something besides socks. This was bought with a gift card from my sister for my birthday. And I was thinking of maybe doing the neckband on the campfire sweater that I want to cast on. And so, of course, I've been trying to figure out what yarn to use for the body of the sweater. And I don't really have enough in sweaters quantity. But when I was in Maine for my son's AAU, enabled by my friend Jordan, thank you Jordan, I went to Knitwit Yarn Shop in Portland, Maine, and found the exact colorway that I think will look really great with this and super fun, and bought enough for my cardigan. And that is this color. It's a really nice blue, kind of like a seafoam blue, and then it has all these nice pops of like greens, sort of a brown, but it seems like a green that overlapped. It is by Little Fox, and the colorway is Pennies from Heaven, and I just think that looks so cute together. So this will be the body of the cardigan, and this will be the neckband with the buttons. I also got a set of wooden needles and some pretty generic gray yarn. Which I of course do not have the ball band. So my son Weston has wanted to knit for a long time, and we have done some practice, and he gets excited and then he kind of drops the ball and doesn't like it anymore. But he said he wanted to knit and he was pretty bored. So I got him the yarn and some needles, and look, guys, look. This is what he's done. Whoops. Not bad. Isn't that exciting? Like, you can see that he's still learning, like his gauge is funky, but otherwise, like, he's doing a great job. And we went over the basics. We used the whole stab the fish, strangle the fish, scoop the guts, throw it over the cliff, which he thinks is hilarious. So I showed him how to do it. Like, I had me holding it with him, and then he wanted to try it by himself. His biggest struggle was where and how to hold the yarn, which is obviously what we all struggle with when we're learning how to do this. And he is continental, so that means that he's a picker, which I can't wrap my head around because I can't do it, but he can. And he flew. He did like 6 more rows without me. He was just sitting beside me knitting. It was so cool. And I got beads. These beads are for Sad Jack's hair. Woohoo! And of course, you can't go somewhere and not get a tote bag. So this is Knitwit Yarn Shop, Portland, Maine. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the moment you have all been waiting for. Yes, hair! It's funky, but it's hair. And I have it back this way because his eyes are just really far up. And he's going to have a headscarf here anyways, and then a hat, but he has hair! And he's got his goatee back. I still think he's ugly, which is fine, whatever. I'm just wanting to get him done now. But maybe with the hat, he'll look better. I feel like we keep saying, like, maybe once you add this, he'll look better, or maybe once you add that. But I just don't like him. But I'm making it. He's got hair. We've got the beads. We'll put some beads and some dreadlocks in his hair, and I'll just keep trudging away at this Sad Jack. Maybe one day he'll be Happy Jack. In terms of business, I have that sock pattern coming out that I talked about, and it is co-designed with Alana of the Mental Knitja, and I will link her down below as well. Go ahead and follow her. She does have a podcast as well on YouTube, and she has a pretty fun Instagram feed. So this is the Tanya socks by Cassie and Alana of the Mental Knitja, and it will be available June 30th. In terms of other businessy related things, nothing. I'm relaxing. I'm getting this pattern done, and I'm just knitting socks and trying not to stress, which is fine. Maybe I'm a better designer in the winter. I don't know. There's no hurry. Family life. So let's see. Today was the last day of school, so it is now officially summer vacation, and I'm pretty excited about that. So are the kids. It always comes with excitement in the beginning and then a little extra stress, but it always balances itself out. It's really fun to be able to have a day off when they're home and to be able to kind of run away and do something together, even if it's as simple as going to their grandmother's house and swimming in the pool. So I'm looking forward to summer adventures and just some time to kind of breathe and not worry about homework and sports and the run of a normal school year. My son Wyatt just turned 15, which is pretty exciting. And today he took his learner's permit test and passed. So I'm pretty sure tonight he'll be wanting to drive around somewhere. So I'm either gonna have him drive it in the field, which is most likely, or on a back road. And I'm slightly nervous, but I'm also excited. I've already done this with 2 kids. Like, this is gonna be fine. I just keep reminding myself that this is not something new. But yeah, maybe I'll have a picture of him in the driver's seat. I don't know. That's exciting. And my son Michael had an AAU tournament. He had a total of 3 games. 2 were on the first day, 1 was on the next day. They played really well. The games were super competitive. So the first 2 games on the first day were intense games, back and forth, really close scoring, and really exciting to watch. And it was in this huge auditorium that was actually split into 3 basketball courts, which was pretty crazy. Luckily, he was playing on the court nearest the bleachers, which are actually like up high, which was pretty cool. And he did lose both of those games, but I'm totally fine with that. And then the second day, the team we played was definitely ahead of us. Would have been less ahead of us had there been some different types of referees. So there was 2 refs, and 1 ref called absolutely nothing the whole game. Like, I'm not even sure what he was doing. I don't know if he was sleeping, standing up, or what. But he did absolutely nothing. And then the other ref was continuously calling fouls on our team, giving the other team lots of foul shots, and rarely calling fouls when it was supposed to give our team foul shots. And I usually don't get nitpicky, but it was pretty extreme. I didn't say anything, but a lot of the audience was saying things, and the ref became very unprofessional and actually ended the game early and said some not so nice things to one of the spectators on our team. So that was a rough way to end the tournament. But all in all, the tournament was fun. We stayed in a hotel room. We did some swimming and some hot tubbing with some of his friends, and my friends, and one of my mom friends. And I had a lot of time for knitting, which was super great. We all came home super tired. I was really glad I had the next day off, and it was one from the books. I will probably also put some photos of that in here. There's not a whole lot else going on in the family life, which is okay. In terms of farm life, the sheep are 8 weeks old this coming Thursday. They are growing like weeds, even our runt Bama lamb. It's really great to see them grow. They're super cute when they go outside. They do like these little like jumpy, skippy things. Oh my gosh, it's so cute. And we are in the process of weaning, like starting the weaning process. And it's been a bit rough, but we did it last year and everyone came out okay. So everyone's gonna come out okay this year too. And Bama lamb, we have noticed, is a little bit more like a dog than a person. No, more of a dog than a sheep. So she will follow my husband around while we do chores. She comes right up to us when we call her name. And if you scratch her stomach or her side, she wiggles her tail like a dog. And if I do that to the other babies, they're just like, they don't care. It doesn't excite them at all. Super cute. I am hoping that some interested buyers will make some offers pretty soon. It's about the time in like 2 to 3 weeks where they will be able to start going to another pasture. Of course, we're keeping Bamalam because why not? She's a runt, she's adorable, and we love her. If it wasn't so messy, I would probably have her inside. Books. Oh my gosh. I am reading so many books. I don't have them with me, so I will just put some pictures up. I finished It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. Really good book. Not as exciting as the main population is acting like it is. It's not like, oh my god, what a great book. But it's a good read. I finished Then She Was Gone by Lisa Jewell. That book was messed up. A girl goes missing, as it says, and we're trying to figure it out. And the way it goes about what happened to her kind of follows back full circle in the end in a really creepy way. So I highly recommend. That was And Then She Was Gone by Lisa Jewell, and it's Jewell. I am currently reading The Big Dark Sky by Koontz. I'm reading this, I think it's still reading, on Audible. It is a pretty intense book right now. Lots of super freaky things going on. We've already met a villain and potentially the hero and a bunch of side characters that always play a role in solving whatever issue it is. There's always like an issue to solve or some mystery that comes with a resolution. So we've got the bad guy, we've got who I think is the good guy, and some side characters that are playing a pretty good role. It is at a point where it's really hard to listen to while driving. It's super distracting, so don't recommend. But I do recommend listening to it in general. Koontz is one of my favorite authors. I probably have 3 or 4 that are like must-read authors, and him and Stephen King are up on the top tied. I'm also reading Raven Black. I'll have to put the author name down here. That is a murder mystery, and that is going pretty well as also. I'm reading that on my Kindle on my phone when I'm out and about and forget to bring knitting. I'm also reading It Starts With Us by Colleen Hoover. That is the prequel to It Ends With Us, but you have to read it next. I'm enjoying it quite a bit. I'd also say it's a really good read. Ties in really good with It Ends With Us, but also not as hype worthy as what people are making it out to be. And I just started reading The Lions of Fifth Avenue by Fiona Davis. I don't know how to explain this book, but I will do my best. So there's a librarian, or there's a lady whose husband is the curator of a library, and they live above the library. And she wants to go to journalism school. And it talks about how through the journey of journalism school, she ends up finding a like women power group and makes some changes in her life that make her question what her priorities are. And that's kind of what the book jacket says. It's pretty interesting. It kind of starts with talking about these giant lions on the outside, like the giant statues of lions on the outside of the library, which is pretty cool. The weird thing is, in the beginning of the book, which is in the time of the main character, the lions have names, and then it does at some point flip to like the present day, and the lions have different names. I haven't figured out if it's a different part of the library, if they were remade, or what the deal is, but seems to be a good book so far. And this brings me to my favorite part of my podcast. This is my spice of mental health. And so this one is pretty easy. It's really just a thought to remind yourself about how awesome you are and how far you've come. So I just want you, when you're struggling or feeling like you're not where you want to be, or you're not as successful as you thought you would be, or any of those self-doubts of like being unhappy where you are or feeling less than, I want you to think about who you were 5 years ago and how far you've come. Because that version of you 5 years ago is going to think you're doing an amazing job. And looking at it, you're going to see all the progress and success that you have made in those 5 years. And that's it. I challenge you in those moments of doubt. And even you can totally do this even if you're not having a moment of doubt. Sometimes you just need a little boost. So just remind yourself, your version of yourself from 5 years previous is going to be so proud of who you are and where you are today. And that's it. So I hope you have some happy crafting, and I will see you next time. Bye.